Uh, can you tell us about how grim really the situation is? And how does it really escalate as far as now United States issuing the advisory of the citizens to leave Ukraine and also to its embassy officials to vacate?
Yeah, I think good afternoon to your viewers and good morning. It's early morning for me. It's 1:30 here in Chicago. We had a meeting today actually with the people of diaspora. Amita, thank you for the concern. We all disturbed about it, to be very honest. What is this going on? Like, we, the people from Indian Americans, like, what is this? Because when we just got evacuation few months ago, people came back from Afghanistan, and now this Ukraine issue, like, this is not acceptable, to be honest. Why we need to go there? Like, this is the talk, because when we talk about it, like we are just getting them back. You can very well imagine how it is, like what is the need for it, like, and overview when we're talking about like giving the notices, because when you talk about the people in the uniform, their families, they're still not overcome the last one, like they're just coming back. It is so much of mental trauma I talk to, because as on the ground, we are still not over that pandemic situation, and they are going through so much of mental trauma. Like my next door neighbor, he was in Afghanistan for more than, I think, 14 months. When he came back safe and sound, how we celebrated. And now again, this means, what is this? Means this is why are we so much interested to be there? What is our interest? Like, this is very disturbing. Because if we talk deep in, like, and getting back, like, because as the administration of ours has asked our people to come back for their safety, because there are people those working there, and is the same issued by Japan and as well as Australia. So it's very surprising, because now safety of people, like, and they said that after that, we will not be responsible. So they have given them 48 hours, and they say Russia may strike after the 20th, when the Winter Olympics are over. So we are keeping an eye how the situation means like takes shape. And but on a note of it, we're not very happy about what's going on, like why we have to be there. Over to you.
Vandana, when it comes to deployment of more troops, and that is a move that is similarly also being taken up by the NATO forces, because they are also on the move and heading to the alliance's eastern borders. And similar advisories that we know of has also been issued by many of those countries there, including, as you mentioned, Australia. So how are you looking at this situation that could, as you mentioned, also could possibly turn into a humanitarian crisis?
Yeah, because see, that's what I think, Amita, we are still not overcome the crisis of like COVID-19, and above all, we have this crisis. The country is like is not been even like you guys are sitting far. I'm just sharing this personally with you because inflation is so very high. What we are facing right here on the ground of jobs, like economic recovery, it has not even started, and then this thing happened. What will be the impact of it overall, like, so that is another, because NATO forces, as you did mention, that they are all partnering it, and the France has taken a different stand, we all know that, and Russia, Ukraine, because it is a time that collectively, I think it will be the need of the time that India takes a strong step and try to mediate. So we don't want any war anymore, to be very honest. Cannot afford. Where are we heading to?
Right, because Vandana, what is being cited on part of Russia, because it has concentrated more than 100,000 troops near Ukraine's border. And what is the overall point of view there in the United States? Because Russia continues to maintain the stand that it has no invasion planned.
So Russia is saying no invasion plan, but then Russia is deploying, because India has a very good relationship when it comes to Russia. India has been always supported by Russia whenever there has been a need. But now there are new equations coming up in the world, because we are just seeing, and actually I think your Honorable Prime Minister that day when he was addressing in Rajya Sabha, he said there is new world order coming up. And so we are all looking forward for it. And India is in a very strong position right now. So, personally speaking, nobody wants a war right now. Nobody is really ready for it, because what is this happening? And when we talking about means how much has been spent only on the Afghanistan, what did we gain out of it? Today itself, we had 300 refugees, those who landed here in the city of Chicago, and our mayor was there to receive. So it is like they had to leave their home and they have to come here, they have to settle, and America, as we have seen it, my own president's rating has gone down so very much after the decision of, like, you have left it abruptly. This was not right. And another thing which is very, very sad to how many months has passed? And then this thing comes up, and we are very much into it, that we are ready to support Ukraine, and Russia is about to take over. Like, it can happen after February 20th. So I don't know what is this happening. I'm really, personally speaking, as we were talking today, I just said, like 2 hours ago, we were having some chai pe charcha, and we were discussing about this. Where are we heading to now?
Right. So to talk more on the developing situation there, Vandana, I request you to stay on with us. Sergey, can you hear me? Sergey is a journalist. He is right there in Ukraine, and he's reporting right there for Republic right now as we are getting those pictures at this point. Sergey, can you help us understand how the situation is currently developing there in Ukraine?
Well, it's the government is sending mixed messages to the Ukrainians, because from one side, the government says that Russia is not going to attack. It says that Ukrainian army is fully capable to defend the country. But from the other hand, they are evacuating papers from Kiev. General Prosecutor Office is evacuating papers from Kiev to Lviv, and that is quite disturbing. But there are no signs of military mobilization here. People are calm. I'm now standing at one of the biggest mall in Odessa, and people are just walking to buy some groceries, to buy some stuff, and for their work. So the general people are here, are calm, and they are not panicking.
Right. So general situation is there, it is calm there, but we are talking about a very grim backdrop there. Sergey, if you can help us understand, because all efforts are being made to prevent any war-like situation, even though there are thousands of troops that have been deployed to the border areas. Can you tell us more on that?
Sorry, I missed your question. You are asking about the Russian soldiers at the border.
Right, the border areas. Because they are engaged in military drills.
Yes, actually, I was near the border a week ago in the south of Ukraine, and I was in a few villages, and people there were not concerned about this. People are not believing that Russia is going to attack. It's also because in the east, people have a more close connections to Russia. From one side, from the other side, we have a war here like for 8 years, and we are getting used to any messages. We heard a lot of news, a lot of messages, a lot of threats, a lot of possible outcomes, and people in general do not afraid of this military forces that are now near the border, partially because they always were there. I mean, Russia is constantly performing some drills during these 8 years. The difference between these drills and the drills that were before is that now everybody, especially in the West, are talking about it. So this is the main topic now, and this is because of the media, because of the Western media is now having a close look at the situation. But before, somehow, the Western media wasn't bothered at all about these drills and about what may happen next.
So, Sergey, can you tell us exactly what's happening there towards the embassy situation? Because we are told that advisories that have also been issued are not just by the United States, but also by Australia and other NATO allies so that they can evacuate their officials as soon as possible.
Yes, actually embassies of, I think, Netherlands as well. The number of countries also advise their citizens to flee the Ukraine. I know for the fact that United States Embassy were calling to the American citizens yesterday at night and urged them to leave Ukraine immediately. I know that also Great Britain Embassy suggested for their citizens to leave Ukraine as well. So this is actually very concerning. But the point is that all these messages, they are coming from outside of Ukraine, while Ukrainian government's trying to keep calm, and there is no any signs of possible martial law or any mobilization, and that is really strange because we have this information from the West, from the outside, but from the inside, we are told that everything will be smooth and yeah.
Right. Sergey, just stay on with us. I'm going to get Vandana on board for a quick update because Vandana, you've been hearing Sergey is right there in Ukraine. But what are your thoughts when it comes to those diplomatic efforts that are also being made? Because there are foreign policy advisors from Germany, from France, from Russia and Ukraine who met in Paris last week. And what is being also said that a conversation might happen, a phone call between Biden and Putin.
Yes. You just mentioned it, but that's what I'm saying. The speaker before me, he did mention absolutely, because this has been escalated, because Russia said that we are not going to do that invasion. But when it comes to the US, and that is what this talk, it is kind of creating a phobia in the mind of people that they may attack. But Russia said, no, we are not ready for attack or something like that. So we are seeing the statement of our national security advisor, Jake Sullivan. He said, don't expect any military evacuation. So if you want to leave within 48 hours. So means that itself is telling your own people that you have to come out from there later. Means don't wait, just come back. Just come back. So that itself is a threat. And when we're talking about, we definitely want to have the diplomatic intervention into this. All the countries have to come into it and make sure that nobody can afford a war at this particular time, to be honest. Nobody. Over to you, Amita.
Sergey, from the point of view of Russia, because what is being said till now as the Russian president has been denying any sort of an attack or an invasion, and especially with the Beijing Olympics that are currently underway, we know that there are close ties also between them. But as of now, what Russia seems to be maintaining that no attack has been planned.
Yes, well, Russia didn't.
Absolutely.
Russia didn't say that they were invading Crimea in 2014 as well. So there is a certain we can't be 100% sure that attack will not happen because of the past, but we also can be sure that it will happen. I mean, we are now in unstable. In totally unstable position right now, because we have no clue, we have no idea what will happen next. The Vladimir Putin shows itself like a person who can make unexpected decisions, and that is the key point, because we don't know what will come next.
Vandana, what does NATO do if Russia does really invade Ukraine? Do we look at a situation that could escalate very quickly? How is that circumstances going to be planned in the future?
Amita, to be honest with you, because the situation is changing very frequently. If we are talking to you after an hours, we will see the different situation, because everybody is trying, like, if means each eyes of everyone is right now on over there. They means like, actually speaking, frankly speaking, we should avoid any kind of war, that there should not be any war, because if this is like happening after the Winter Olympics, which is the 20th of February. Today we are talking, I think in India it's already 12th or 13th is already there, right? 12th. So means 7 or 8 days from now. So what's happening? And people are like, he's giving you a ground report that people are walking, going grocery shopping. So their life is very normal. So they are not even concerned about it. But NATO forces, like, because if it is a deployment, and you just mentioned what will be their stand, it is just wait and watch, to be honest, like, because everyone is trying. Because America is trying their own, like, the
Right.
Russia is saying something different right now, that we are not going to invade. And so if we're not, so why are there forces, 100,000 forces? So these are conflicting statements
Sergey, would you
itself.
want to take that questions? Why are there thousands of troops that have been sent by Moscow to Belarus also that are said to be engaged in military drills, and there are convoys of Russian anti-aircraft missile systems that have also been deployed there?
This is a part of the big game, because I think it's very connected to the Nord Stream, and that the West doesn't yet allow the Nord Stream to operate in full. The Nord Stream, the second Nord Stream, and this is also connected to this game that Russia were playing with Europe and the whole world. Like they are artificially decreased gas transportation to Europe, and prices has raised for the gas. So this is the part of this big game. Russia wants Nord Stream to be allowed to operate in full. So Russia will not need any more Ukrainian pipelines. But European Union and the United States are not like this idea. They want Russia to use Ukrainian pipelines because it brings like $2 or $3 billion to Ukrainian budget. And without this, without Russia using Ukrainian pipelines to transport gas, Ukraine lose this money. Also, Belarus and Russia are now actually one country after the Belarusian President Lukashenko signed the agreement with Russia, creating a unified country, Belarus in Russia. And Belarus doesn't have any independent politics. It's totally dependent on Russia right now. So the Putin actually showing his force. He is showing that he has something in his sleeve, and that he is capable of anything, actually. So, but the West doesn't propose anything at this point. I'm sure that we need to avoid a big war at any cost, but there is not much that Ukraine can do.
Well, the situation seems to be developing at a very fast pace, as the United States already issuing a warning to its citizens and also to its embassy officials there that they should leave Ukraine as soon as possible. Sergey, thank you very much for getting us this ground report. Vandana, thank you very much for your point of views as well as we continue to play out this story. Good night for now. Thank you for joining it.